Well, good afternoon. My name is Harold Monk. I am at the WiseEye office this morning. Sorry about the voice, guys. For some reason, I have come down with a cold. It's 90 degrees outside, and I came down with a cold. Go figure. But anyway, I just want to share a couple things with you this afternoon. One thing I was watching was the news and what's going on. All the protests in Israel and Palestine and Hamas and all this stuff going on, and I was searching, good Lord, for the Lord to show us how do we fit into this thing as a Christian body. In Romans 8:1 came to mind. And I don't know if you're familiar with it, but I'll read it for you so you'll understand where I'm fixing to come from. It says, Romans 8:1 says, "There's therefore no condemnation to those who are in Jesus Christ, who do not walk according to the flesh, but according to the Spirit." Think about that. There is no condemnation. Doesn't matter what they say about us Christians on Facebook, about the news media. Can't do nothing about it. But understand, as Christians, there is no condemnation on us. Just not. So basically, Paul was saying, don't worry about it. It's not in your control. But understand, the world cannot condemn you. They condemned me. And I took that for you. And I just wanted to share that with you. And watching the news and all this and all the riots and stuff going on with the kids. And it was just stood out to me as, therefore, there's no condemnation to those who are in Jesus Christ. And I just want to let you know that. So don't worry about what you see on television. God's in control. There's nothing you can do. One of the things that I've been studying lately was about the resurrection. I like to dig and look at other things. And one of the two things I really enjoyed about reading the resurrection story is looking for the little things that we miss. One of the things that really struck me is in the Gospel of John. When Mary and Magdalene and them were approaching the tomb, they were bringing spices and stuff to anoint the body because, on the third day, the smell may be coming a little tough around there, so they anoint the body to try to keep that down. But as they approached the tomb, they were talking to themselves, how are we going to get this rock out the way, this massive rock here? And I guess they decided, well, the guard maybe still there, we'll just roll the stone out the way. When they got there, the stone was already rolled away. In this verse, John chapter 20, verse 7, stood out to me a little bit this year that has never stood out to me. And then I'll read it to you. It says, "While the cloth that had covered Jesus' head was folded up and laying apart from the other wrappings." Now, why would John write something like that? We have the story of the resurrection happening. But why would he say or take the time to explain to us that the stuff was folded? To us nowadays, it doesn't mean a whole lot. But to the people that John was writing to, it meant something different. They understood what that meant. And if you look back at Jewish history, you'll find out that when the master of the house was eating dinner, they didn't have dinner like we did and have all the food in front of you and you would eat all you wanted and you would leave. They kind of ate in kind of like a shift because of the way it was prepared and what have you. Especially up in the people who had money or prestige. They would eat sometimes with a couple of hours. So what would happen is that if the master was called away while he was eating, he would fold his napkin in 3 times, and he would set it on the table. And that was a sign to the servants around him that he was not finished. He is coming back. Now, if he had finished eating, he would wad the napkin up and he would put it on the table, giving a sign to the servants that he has finished eating, that now they can come into the place where they were having dinner and clean up. Isn't that odd that John put in here that the cloth that covered Jesus' face, that he used to wipe his face just like a dinner, was folded? He made that very clear to us in the scriptures. It doesn't make a lot of sense to us, but to the Jewish people at the time, it meant tremendous. It meant, I'm not finished, I'm coming back. And just in that simple folded napkin, he tells us he's coming back. Very simple. And that struck me very, very deeply, that the details of what Christ was doing for us is even down to folding a napkin for us to see. He's coming back. And one last thing I would like to share with you, one more thing about the Easter week, is that I was thinking about the thief on the cross and his conversation with Christ and how that went down. As he hung there on one side of Jesus, obviously paying for a crime that he had committed, this man had never been to Sunday school. He probably never attended vacation Bible school. He never went on a mission trip with the youth department. He never probably had a lock-in at the church. He was never baptized. He was probably never sang in the choir. Probably didn't play in the band, in the praise band. But in a simple phrase of deep guilt or deep longing for something different, looked at Christ and said, "Remember me." And at that time, Christ looked at him and said, "Today, not tomorrow, not next week, not several years from now, not when the tribulation comes or when the rapture comes, but today you will be with me in paradise." Again, he's never been baptized. He didn't go to church. He probably doesn't have any family that goes to church. But he understood his need for Christ. And he said, "Remember me." And Christ said, "You got it. You will be with me today." I thought that was, we as a church have gotten away from the simple message of remember me. I was watching some pastors on the TV the other day. Was getting ready for this. I was just watching them, and I was listening to their mindset of what it takes to become a Christian. And they are telling you have to do this, you have to do this. If you're not tithing or sending enough money, what have you. That's not what the thief asked. The thief said, "Remember me." And then I heard a great pastor speak on this several years ago, and his take on this is pretty funny. This, what happened when the thief got to heaven, and he's walking down the streets of gold, and say 4 angels approached him while he was there, and the first angel says, "Hey, glad you're here. Where was you baptized? Was it the Jordan? Was it the Sea of Galilee? Where did you get baptized at?" And the thief said, "I'm sorry, I was not baptized." And the second angel said, well, great then. You must, was it faith by works? Or was it, did works get you here? Was it faith? Which one was it? And the thief goes, "I don't know." And the third angel said, "Well, it's got to be. You must know. It must be you pre-tribulation or pre-rapture for the church and what have you. So which one's that?" And the thief goes, "I don't understand your question." And of course, the fourth angel goes, "Oh, well, it must be predestination or free spirit. Which one? Was it free will or predestination that got you here?" And the thief says, "I have no idea what you're talking about." And then they said, well, finally, "Well, how did you get here?" And he said, "Because the man in the middle said I could." Think about that for a minute. The man in the middle said I could. See, we have gotten so drawn up in theology that we have lost sight of that "remember me." We got theology that splits churches because they can't decide on one side of an issue over another side of the issue, but it doesn't matter. That's not what matters. What matters is the simple, childlike faith of remember me. I just wanted to leave that with you today. This is going to be short today, but I wanted to let you know where my heart's at. Is that we need to get back to the remember me. And let all this distractions that we are getting into, and I've got into a conversation the other day was, well, do miracles still happen today? Then they didn't. Look, my 3-pound brain cannot and never will understand God's grace and his mercy to his people. So I'm not going to spend my time trying to figure out revelations. I'm not going to spend my time on one verse of the Bible saying something that a whole theology will build up around it. The theology that we need to be concentrated on is remember me. So I'm going to close tonight in prayer. So let's go to the Lord in prayer and ask him to remember me. Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for that verse in the Bible that says, remember me. Thank you, Father. All the other stuff doesn't matter. It does not matter. I thank you for your Savior, Son, that came. He hung between heaven and earth and said, it is finished. That's all we need. He is all you need. If you have any questions about what I was talking about, what some of these great leaders, I enjoy these more than you understand, listening to people pour their heart out. But if you want to know more about this Jesus that we talk about, please reach out to us. We'd love to share with you the God that lives in here. So we would and speak with you if you have any questions. Thank you again for listening. Terry Peer, thank you for being such a great godly man and supporting this. Talk to you soon. I think we'll be next Sunday. I'm not sure who does next Sunday, but feel free to join. Pass these around. Guys, in this industry, we need some godly men to stand up and take a stand. And I appreciate you listening. Have a blessed day. God bless you.